What is up, everybody? Welcome into this Monday episode of Flippin' Bats, and man, oh man, is there a lot to talk about. Full all-star rosters have been released. We'll talk biggest surprises. We'll talk biggest snubs, which there were quite a few snubs. It's also the first Monday episode of the month, meaning we have Team of the Month, Player of the Month. We have a new and improved and updated Top 10 Major League Baseball Power Rankings. And, of course, Overreaction Monday. A lot to talk about there as well. This one is jam-packed. Let's get to it.
Fly ball onto the track, at the wall, it's gone! Home run! Turns on a ball, deep right field, and gone!
What a game, what a moment. What is up, my friends? Happy Monday to everybody. It was 4th of July weekend, I guess, but technically It is 4th of July is
weekend. It's a long 4-day weekend. It's
Yeah.
4th of July is tomorrow. I got my fireworks dress on.
that. I do like that. I like that dress. It is.
I feel good about it.
It was a big weekend. Not because of 4th of July, not because of the fireworks, but Alex, it was Bobby Bonilla Day over the weekend.
I love Bobby Bonilla
Bobby Bonilla Day might be one of the greatest
so
things
good.
still happening in sports. It's one of my favorite days of the year. Every July 1st, Bobby Bonilla, who is 60 years old and hasn't played in baseball since 2001, gets paid $1.19 million every year for another 12 years. It's still going to happen.
What an epic retirement plan. I don't think anybody has a better retirement plan than Bobby.
Did you know a couple of years ago, I think it was exactly 2 years ago, I had his agent on Flippin' Bats, and we talked all about it. It was great. Your weekend, Alex?
I feel like I had a Ben Verlander weekend, and it was
Golf?
glorious.
Did you golf?
I did. I golfed for the first time in over a year, and I've been golfing since I was 5 years old, and I hadn't been in a long time. I was like, well, didn't take any practice swings, went right up to the first tee, which was over a pond. Made it. Wasn't bad.
How would you rate your...
I got a couple bogeys. I averaged like double bogeys. It wasn't bad. It was also like a 9-hole golf course. It was great. And then I just like hung out with my puppies, watched baseball and TV shows, and hung out on my couch all weekend. It was glorious.
I also golfed this weekend.
I told you I had a Ben Verlander weekend.
Yeah. And then it was Bobby Bonilla Day, which is great. Also, we'll talk about this a lot in a little bit, but Aroldis Chapman was traded, and the first hit he gave up as a member of the Texas Rangers was to Jose Altuve.
Hey.
A lot of history there, because of course it was Jose Altuve. But big weekend, big week, Alex. We are getting ready on Saturday. We leave for the All-Star game in Seattle. Alex and I and the whole Flippin' Bats crew, we're going to have quite the week up there. I'm so excited.
We're going to have so much fun because we're doing a show Sunday. This is why we're going up Saturday. We're going to see all the sights and sounds. We're going to, because draft is also on Sunday. We're going to just go to some cool spots around Seattle. We're doing shows at the Home Run Derby, at the All-Star game.
We need dinner recs. We need dinner recommendations for Seattle. That's what we need.
If you have good dinner recommendations, at Alex_Curry. We love good seafood. Fresh seafood. In Seattle.
We love a good plug of the handles as well. So, at Alex_Curry there. I'm excited, and we're going to talk a lot about All-Star Game today.
We are. So let's just jump right into it, because we always have Overreaction Monday, right? And I usually give you a statement, and you tell me if it's an overreaction or not. We're gonna kind of mix it up a little bit, and we're just gonna overreact to some of the All-Star news, okay?
There was a lot.
So let's get started with the American League All-Star roster reaction. Overreact to that, Ben.
So the starters officially announced, and then on Sunday, so last evening, was when all the names were announced. The reserves, the pitchers. So I won't get into all of the reserves, but I'll get into all of the starters. So the official starting lineup for the AL: Jonah Heim, Yandy Diaz, Marcus Semien, Josh Young, Corey Seager, Randy Arozarena, Mike Trout, and Aaron Judge, who is going to be replaced by somebody. The pitchers on the team: Shohei Ohtani, Garrett Cole, Luis Castillo, Sonny Gray, Nathan Eovaldi, Kevin Gausman, Shane McClanahan, Framber Valdez, and Michael Lorenzen. Relievers, Kenley Jansen, Emmanuel Clase, Felix Bautista, and Yanir Cano.
Okay.
So I have some – here's what we're going to do.
Okay.
I love talking snubs. I have some surprises and some snubs. So first off, when that American League, the roster's being announced, the surprise to me that I hear, and I don't want this to come off as like I'm very happy for this player, and I don't want it to sound like I'm not happy for him. But every team, as you know, needs a representative. There has to be one representative from every team. Now, the Detroit Tigers representative is Michael Lorenzen. And I would say on the American League side, this is my surprise because you look at the Tigers and, you know, it sucks, but there's not a ton of all-stars on the team. So what I think should have happened, Michael Lorenzen has a mid-4, like almost a 5 ERA. Not great. Miguel Cabrera should have been the all-star.
He should have been.
Well, I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's a good call.
And I know they didn't do the legacy or whatever they called it last year. But why not do it this year?
Yeah.
Or at least do it for Miggy and just say the
it's his
Tigers
last season.
If you were to come out and say the Tigers representative this year is Miguel Cabrera, nobody would be like, how dare you?
That's perfect.
Right.
Oh, that's a good point.
So that was a big surprise for me on the American League side, but not a ton with the starting lineup. I think both starting lineups are pretty good here.
So snubs. Is there a
snubs?
big
Oh,
American
there are
League
snubs. Alex, I am so glad you asked. Snubs.
Yeah.
Wander Franco?
Ooh.
Wander Franco is third in all of baseball in WAR, behind Shohei Ohtani and Ronald Acuna Jr., the 2 MVP award winners.
Yeah.
The guy right behind both of them isn't an all-star on a team that's been the best team in baseball all year long.
That's weird.
That doesn't make any sense. I also think Masataka Yoshida should have been an all-star.
Okay.
Batting over 300 after a slow start, really turned it on. Alex Verdugo, I think, a bit of a snub there. And lastly, for the American League side, I would have liked to see Mauricio Dubon of the Astros, like the super utility guy, been a great fill-in for them. He's been fantastic, but unfortunately, with the way everything's set up, if you're like a utility guy that can get plugged in anywhere, you're probably not going to make the All-Star game because where are you getting voted in at? And it's just the
where's
way
your
it's set
solid
up.
position?
He's been the reason the Astros have kind of treaded water throughout the Altuve being down most of the year, and so I would have liked to see that. But for me, the big one in the American League is Wander Franco.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's
actually ridiculous now that you're saying it.
That was a miss. And maybe I don't know. As we speak, as you know, we record on Sunday nights. As we speak, the replacement for Judge hasn't been announced, and there's going to be a Yordan replacement. I think Wander Franco's probably going to eventually get in, but as of right now, that's the biggest snub. Like, that's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Also, sorry, I'm going to think of a million names as I go. Carlos Estevez, Angels, 20 for 20 on save opportunities this year. Snub.
Yeah.
But congrats to all those guys.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's move to the National League.
Yes.
And starting with the All-Star roster. Let's read it. Hear your reactions.
Starting lineup for the NL: Sean Murphy behind the plate, Freddie Freeman at first base, Luis Arraez at second base, Nolan Arenado at third, Orlando Arcia at shortstop, Corbin Carroll, Ronald Acuna Jr., and Mookie Betts are the outfield, and JD Martinez is the designated hitter there. Pitching-wise, pitchers, there's a ton of first-time All-Stars. The majority of these pitchers are first-time All-Stars. Zach Gallen, Spencer Strider, Bryce Elder, Justin Steele, Mitch Keller, and Josiah Gray, all first-timers. Clayton Kershaw and Marcus Stroman also named to the All-Star team. Relievers, Alexis Diaz, Josh Hader, Devin Williams, and Camilo Doval. Surprise for me here.
Yeah, who's the biggest NL surprise?
This is a positive thing.
Okay.
But Bryce Elder being named to his first All-Star game, he was the opening day starter for Gwinnett in the minor leagues, and he's now a Major League All-Star and has been one of the best pitchers in baseball all year long. That's awesome. I'm so pumped up for him. Just looking through this team, starting lineup looks great. There are some people it's a surprise that they're not on the roster, but that, as you know, leads us to snubs.
So let's get into who are the biggest National League snubs.
Evan Phillips, Dodgers. I don't even know where to begin. Evan Phillips is a huge snub on the National League side of things. David Bednar, reliever for the Pirates, also a snub. I think Brandon Nimmo, there's a really good argument for him being an all-star. Let me just state, when we're talking snubs, you could easily go, okay, if you want him to be an all-star, who are you going to take off the list?
Yeah.
I'm not doing all that. I think these are just names I think should have been an all-star this year.
Fair.
And I don't want to go through and pick who would need to be off the team. I ain't going to do that. What else? National League. I have a couple.
Okay.
People aren't going to like these.
I'm curious because I have one too.
Fernando Tatis.
Yep, that's who I have down.
Ridiculous. But I look.
Tainted.
He didn't get voted in by the fans. I understand
Yep.
fans not voting. He didn't get in from the player vote, which is the last way to get in. I get it. I think we messed up. I think we messed up. I think he's an all-star.
Yeah.
I've said this a million times. I don't agree with what Fernando Tatis Jr. did.
Yeah.
I was one of the first people to call him out publicly and say he's being immature. He needs to grow up, and his career will hopefully take off. I'm also not in a position to further punish Fernando Tatis for the punishment that he was given. And based off of his numbers, after missing a month of the season, he's an all-star.
Oh, yeah.
He's a star, and that's what this game is about.
And in a new position in the outfield that he's absolutely dominating.
Yeah. So Fernando Tatis, was that your one?
That was my snub. Yeah.
And here's one that I don't think a lot of people will like.
Okay.
And I don't mean he should be on the all-star team.
Yeah.
Ellie De La Cruz. He's played in like 2-3 weeks of games. So I'm not saying that he should take somebody's spot on the All-Star game. But I think Ellie De La Cruz should be there. I think he should be in the home run derby. I think baseball should do something because, one, I feel like we were robbed of getting Ellie De La Cruz in the All-Star game because he came up so late. But you can't tell me the guy's not an All-Star. He comes up, the team goes on a 12-game winning streak. He hits for a cycle, the first cycle in Reds history since Eric Davis. I think he should be there. I think he's a star in the game. I think he's exciting. I think he's the future, and I think he's done enough to get something there, whether it be the home run derby or what. Just make up something. Allow him to be at All-Star Weekend. Honor him in some way. And then I do believe these guys are. I think Matt McClain should have been there. I think Spencer Steer should have been there. So Rookies have to go above and beyond to get in. So a lot of snubs. Another surprise, by the way, forgot to mention this. Justin Steele absolutely should be an all-star. But first homegrown Cubs starter to be named to the all-star game since Jeff Samardzija. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Good for Justin Steele. But just a lot going on. This all happened Sunday. All the names finally came out. I was deep in the depths of who got snubbed, who's fine, who I'm excited about. It's been quite the day.
Okay, then I got one more question for you,
Okay.
Because we don't know yet, but who do you think is going to start for each team?
Oh, this is a great question. Now, I think when you talk National League, one, I think it's important to remember that this is a game for entertainment.
Yes.
And the biggest stars want to shine the brightest. I think Clayton Kershaw should start for the National League.
Love that.
And I think in the American League, because Shane McClanahan is on the IL, not able to pitch, as well as Framber Valdez, also not able to pitch, I think you're left with Ohtani and Garrett Cole. How do you, if you're baseball, how do you not just beg for a Shohei Ohtani versus Clayton Kershaw starting pitching matchup in the All-Star game? We need that.
It would be beautiful.
We need it. And the American League manager is going to be Dusty Baker, and we have heard him say some incredible things about Shohei. And he gets to pick the starter.
Ooh.
So I am hopeful.
Okay. That makes it feel a little better.
I think he's going to pick Shohei. I think it's a realistic possibility. we get Shohei Ohtani versus Clayton Kershaw in Seattle to start the All-Star game, with Shohei also DHing, probably going to lead off again just to get the Shohei versus Kershaw on the mound and then Shohei versus Kershaw at the plate.
Because why not?
The Major League Baseball All-Star game is by far the best. It's just, I'm so excited for it.
It's so fun.
It's great.
And we'll be there.
We will be there. We will be there.
Oh, that's great. We got so much more All-Star talk throughout the week. But let's get back to our Overreaction Monday. Sticking on the pitching side of things, our next overreaction. Justin Verlander is back to Cy Young form.
Let me think about this. Obviously, this year started with him not pitching about a month of the year and then was really up and down. But even over his last 4 starts, Alex, 25 innings pitched, only 5 earned runs, a 1.80 ERA in the last 4 starts. So he has figured it out.
Yeah.
But I'm not ready to say he's back to Cy Young form. I would say his last start was. His last start, he was great.
That's fair, but you also have to take into consideration that he didn't get a spring training.
So
absolutely. He missed the first month of the season. Then he's coming back, and he's just kind of going through his spring training in the big league.
Yeah.
So you got to give a guy, what do pitchers get, like 6-7 weeks down at spring training to get warmed up, to start being in games to the start of the season. So this seems right on track to where he would have been if he was healthy at the start of spring training to start the season like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% wholeheartedly agree. Nobody's watched Justin pitch more than I have.
And more intensely.
Besides maybe my parents, because they had the advantage of birthing him and I wasn't alive yet. So they probably watched him a little more than I have. But other than that, it's like, so I can tell when he's on, I can tell when he's off. So is he back to Cy Young form? I think his few starts before the last one, we started seeing him get better and better and better. That start against the Yankees, he threw well. But then his most recent start against the most recent start before this last one, we saw him go 5 scoreless innings, but it just didn't look right to me yet. But this one on Saturday did against the Giants. 7 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, had his command, was throwing 97 in the last inning. That's what I feel like had been missing with Justin was the command. Like, his last 4 starts, he's been pitching to a 1.80 ERA, but I just didn't feel like he was locked in and back to his Cy Young form yet. Against the Giants, I feel like he is. So am I ready to say he's back to form? I want to see this. I'm excited for his next few starts. I think the last start was that turning point of it clicking. I think he's gotten closer and closer and closer, and I think that Giant start, he was back. Dominant, throwing 97 on the mound. So my answer is let's talk after his net. If he has 2 in a row like this one.
We'll revisit this in a couple weeks.
Yeah, but I think he's
That's
back.
Fair. Yeah, definitely.
I think he's back.
Definitely.
And I will also say, I know he's back because my mentions are no longer full of, your brother sucks. You suck
Way to
too,
go,
Ben.
Verlanders.
Your brother makes so much money to suck. That's up. So clearly he's pitching better.
That's a good sign. That is a great sign.
Yeah.
On to our next overreaction. The Rangers have what it takes to win the World Series after trading for Chapman.
This is the big move. It has already fallen. The domino of Aroldis Chapman has fallen, and this is something that a couple different times we've talked about. One, when I had Ken Rosenthal on and talked about the trade deadline, he said one piece that is going to move is Aroldis Chapman. It's not if, it's when. And then I've spoken a lot about how, specifically with the Rangers, you know what your hole is. You know what the problem with your roster is. It's the bullpen. Why wait?
Well, and that's what Ken Rosenthal also mentioned in your conversation with them. The Rangers need to be so aggressive at the trade deadline to get arms in the bullpen.
Yeah, and they did that. They went out and got Aroldis Chapman. He made his debut on Sunday. A good inning for him. Punched out a couple guys. So the overreaction, do they have what it takes to win the World Series? I'm going to say This is going to be tricky. I want to say yes, but I believe this is the first step. Like,
okay. There's still missing pieces, basically.
I'm going to say yes. The answer to my question, or to your question, or your overreaction.
They have what it takes.
Because you overreact. So,
yeah. Cool.
The answer is I'm going to say yes. And the reason being, they're starting let's just look at a rotation, a bullpen, and their offense. Their rotation through Sunday is the best ERA in baseball for a starting rotation.
Also, like, losing their ace.
While losing one of the best, if not the best pitcher when pitching in baseball, in Jacob deGrom. Their offense, the best in baseball this year. Their bullpen, 7th worst in baseball. Yeah. So the clear glaring issue is the bullpen. And they went out and addressed it with a really good arm that can get you. They have Will Smith, who's been pitching really well in the 9th as the closer. You got to bridge that gap. So you address the bullpen. Now they're a complete team. I would still like to see them add a bullpen arm and even a back end of the rotation arm. But I think this team has the makings of a World Series team. So I guess this question technically is right now, do they have exactly what it takes to win the World Series? I would say no to that. But are they a World Series team with what they've done and what they will do more?
They're on the right track.
Yeah.
They are headed towards being
Yeah, so I guess
World
technically
Series.
I'm changing my answer.
You did.
But I want to agree.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fair.
I like the move. It's a great move.
It is.
It's what they needed to do.
It's exactly what they needed.
I've been yelling at them to get it. For anybody that needs to make a move, just get it. You don't need to wait until August 1st to do it. Your situation's not going to change. You're leading the AL West right now. Nobody believed that would happen at the beginning of July.
Didn't.
What?
I didn't believe that was.
Oh, I thought you said I did. I was like,
no,
whoa.
I said I didn't.
Yeah, I don't think anybody did. I don't think the Rangers probably thought at the beginning of July we'd be leading the AL West. Go address your issue and go from there. So they did that. And he threw well in his first start, besides giving up a hit to Altuve, who is his papa. Yeah. He owns one of the greatest memories of my life. Jose Altuve, all for Aroldis Chapman to send the Astros to the World Series. Great times. Great times. Move on.
All right, let's move on to our next overreaction.
Okay.
Shohei Ohtani had the best June of all time.
Let's dive in.
Okay.
Let's dive in. Because this is a bold conversation. So I needed to come with some research. And come with some research I did. Let's listen to some of these names that are up there for you know what? I'm changing the question. The best month of all time. Shohei Ohtani had the best month of all time. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Sammy Sosa in June of 1998 hit 20 homers in the month. He's the only player to hit 20 homers in the month, and he hit 298 that month. Lou Gehrig in 1930. We remember it well. We were watching it. We were watching it on this set in 1930. He hit 495 with a 1,500 OPS and 10 homers. He's the only player in Major League Baseball history to have 50-plus hits and an OPS of 1.4 or higher in the month of June. Babe Ruth in July of 1924. Only player ever with 55 hits in the month. He hit 450 with 14 homers. Another one that rivals would be Joe DiMaggio in 1937. Only player in MLB history to have 15-plus homers and an OPS of 1.4 or higher in July. He hit 430 with 15 homers. Those are the greatest months of all time. So where does Shohei Ohtani rank in that sense? Well, offensively, 394, an OPS of 1.444, and 15 home runs, which is an Angels franchise record for a month. He is the first player in MLB history to have at least 25 extra base hits, 20 walks, and 15 home runs in a single month. And his OPS of 1.444 is the highest by any player in June since Lou Gehrig in 1936. So offensively, these are one and the same. Like, you could pick one, I can't tell you Lou Gehrig's month was better than Babe Ruth's in 1924. I can't tell you Babe Ruth's was better than Joe DiMaggio in 1937. I can't tell you Joe DiMaggio's was better than Shohei Ohtani's June in 2023. But you add in the fact that he's also a dominant pitcher and had 37 strikeouts and 30 innings in the month of June to the tune of a 3.2 ERA. You add in that fact, and what you have is the single greatest month in the history of Major League Baseball.
Not an overreaction.
Not an overreaction.
I agree. All right, moving on to our final overreaction. Alek Manoah won't pitch in the bigs again this season.
I must say, Alex, I am mad at myself for, our Thursday or Friday segment, things that make you go, I can't believe that I forgot last week to mention his start in rookie ball. Alek Manoah, as we mentioned, got sent down to rookie ball, to the Florida Complex League from the big leagues to just try and figure things out. His pitching, his mentality, just to kind of figure it all out. So he goes down to face 18-year-olds in the Florida Complex League, and his line, his one and only start there, was 2 2/3 innings pitched, 10 hits, 11 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 2 home runs for an ERA of 37.13 in rookie ball. That was his start. I mean, those
I don't know if
are,
I've seen a harder fall from Grace.
I don't know if I've never seen a line like that, because they clearly left him out there to try and figure it out, and he never did. He gave up 2 homers, 11 earned runs. 11.
Yikes.
I mean, just a nightmare. But what did that earn him? It earned him a call up to AA. And on Sunday evening, he got his first AA start.
Okay.
Progress.
Okay.
Big progress. 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 10 strikeouts on the mound. So that is considerably better than obvious. I mean, this goes without saying. Considerably better. And I don't think, I don't know. Maybe Yankees fans are out there rooting against him because of all the shit talk he had. 2 Yankees fans.
No.
And they are. I've seen. They're not.
Still?
But I don't think most baseball fans enjoy watching him struggle as much as he has been. It's just we talked all about the All-Star game. He was one of the coolest moments of the All-Star game last year when John Smoltz was in his ear on the mound and they were talking about what to throw and he was striking guys out. He was great. The fall from grace in a year's time.
I'm so curious what happened.
Mental.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely mental.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
But something's got to trigger that, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the poor performance over an extended period of time, it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse in your head.
That's such a bummer.
So, look, the question was, will we see him in the overreaction was we won't see him in the big leagues again this year. I'm going to say that's an overreaction. I think we do.
Okay.
I would have said that before his start in AA. I feel even better about that now. If the Blue Jays want to have any success this year, not any success, but be as good as I think a lot of people thought they could be, you need Alek Manoah.
You do.
And
you need him back to the great Alek Manoah that we've seen, the all-star Alek Manoah that we've seen in years past.
I don't think we're far off from seeing him after the All-Star break.
Okay.
I think he probably gets another start because of this one. I think he probably goes up to AAA. Mm-hmm. Maybe gets one more start before the Major League All-Star game.
He's coming back soon.
I think he comes back soon.
Okay.
I mean, it's not an injury thing we're dealing with. It's just if he starts pitching well again, which the good sign for me is the 10 strikeouts.
In 5
That
innings.
means your stuff is there.
Yeah.
You can go down and a Major League pitch, you can throw 5 innings with 1 earned and still get hit around a little bit. But giving up only 3 hits in that time and striking out 10 guys, to me that says his stuff was there, and that's what has been missing. So I'm going to say it's an overreaction. I do think we see Alek Manoah back. But just one more time for the people that might have maybe had their volume down too low or missed it. 2 2/3 innings, 11 earned runs in rookie ball.
It's bad. It's bad. He had a bounce back.
He
had a bounce back last night.
Never.
All right, and that wraps up Overreaction Monday and leads us to Team of the Month because it is officially July. So we're going to go through and get the best players at each position for the month of June.
The entire month of June. The first Monday episodes of the month are always fun because it's just like a much bigger picture.
Yeah.
It just feels more substantial. And now we're in our new studio on the new set.
Great.
We got the beautiful board behind us. So this is not Team of the Week. This is Team of the Month, position by position, picking the best at each spot for the entire month of June. Let's start at catcher with Houston Astros catcher Yanir Diaz. 310, 5 homers, 12 RBIs, and 8 doubles on the month, which is, I just love this because I don't think anybody really saw this coming. No. The Astros catcher was and still is Martin Maldonado, but having this guy come up and it just adds so much depth to a team. It gives you so much more capability to start Maldonado and then take him out and believe in him to come in. And so he had a fantastic month, the best month of any catcher in the game of baseball.
That's epic.
Yeah.
All right, moving up to first base, Matt Olson.
This one was tough for me. This one was tricky. But I ended up going with Matt Olson because of his 11 home runs in the month of June. 11 homers in the month, and ended up with 25 RBIs, an OPS of 993, and a All-Star nod. He will be heading to Seattle as well for the All-Star game. But Matt Olson this year has been so streaky, and like he started off really well, and then he was going through this really bad stretch, but it appears he is locked in for an entire month. So I went with Matt Olson and his 11 home runs in the month. He's my first baseman.
Moving on to second base. The man on a mission for 400 batting average this season, Luis Arraez.
When you're on a mission for 400, you need to have a lot of months hitting over 400.
You do.
And in the month of June, also the month that Luis Arraez came on Flippin' Bats, he hit 406 with 2 homers.
Yeah, he's not a big power
The guy
homer
hit 2 homers in the
Yeah.
month. Give him some credit here. 19 RBIs, only 7 strikeouts in the entire month. I had some nights in minor league baseball where I'd strike out 7 times in a game. Not really. That never happened. I just like to make fun of myself because it helps heal. It helps heal the pain. 406, Luis Arraez. Great month for him. He is my second baseman.
And at third base, Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, 330. I'm really happy about this. He turned around. He was having a struggling start to the year. Just not one we've become accustomed to for Jose Ramirez. 337 home runs, 23 RBIs, and an OPS north of 1,000 on the month. So he is my third baseman.
Moving on to shortstop, Corey Seager.
Corey Seager, 368, 5 homers, 25 RBIs, and an OPS just south of 1,100. Also with the All-Star game nod there. Look, this Rangers offense has been the best offense in baseball, and they've done a lot of it this year without having Corey Seager. And I know he's been hurt for a lot of the year, but you want to look at somebody's numbers on the entire year and look at some impressive numbers, go look at Corey Seager. He is having quite the year. He's just, in terms of being the most valuable player, he's in a tough spot because he's in the American League. But if it weren't for Shohei Ohtani, we'd be talking about a Corey Seager MVP type season. He's my shortstop.
All right, moving to the outfield. Now, remember, this is not necessarily by position, just the top 3 outfielders in any order. First one, you got Nick Castellanos.
All-Star Nick Castellanos had a good month as well. 351, 5 home runs, 21 RBIs, and a much-deserved All-Star game appearance. And Nick just hits. I was teammates with Nick in the Tigers organization. I believe he came down and played on the team that he was rehabbing at the time, and then in spring training. He's just always hit. And last year was a bit of a step back for him with a new team, with the Phillies. He just never, it was a struggle of a year for him. So this year, to have the year he is, to have an all-star year has been exciting to see. So he is my first of 3 outfielders.
Your second, Michael Harris II.
Michael Harris II in the month of June raised his batting average over 60 points.
That's incredible.
And how do you do that? You do it by hitting .372 with 5 homers, 14 RBIs, and an OPS over 1,000 while hitting out of the 9 spot for the Atlanta Braves. He hits 9th in that lineup.
That's crazy.
And he's one of the 3 best outfielders in the game of baseball this month, and one of quite a few Braves on the team of the month, and foreshadowing there's about to be another one.
Yes, there is. And he's also currently the National League MVP favorite right now at this point, Ronald Acuna Jr.
Ronald Acuna Jr. stepped up his pace for a 40-70 season. He hit a power surge late in the month. 356, 9 homers on the month, an OPS over 1,100, and 14 stolen bases in the month. Add on top of all of that, 7 doubles. He had some really good defensive plays. I think he took a step up defensively as well, which, we love offense. Mm-hmm. Defense ain't getting you on the team of the month. It's offense, and he had all of that. So he's on pace for, right now, at least a 30-70 season, 30 homers, 70 stolen bases, right close to on pace for a 40-70 season. So also the leading vote getter in all of baseball for the All-Star game, beat out Shohei Ohtani in the American League. He was the leading vote getter in the National League and will be a starter out there for them, this is his first healthy full season back from the brutal injury he had right before the All-Star game in 2021. So this is the Ronald Acuna we were seeing before the injury, and now he's just come back and been even better. So I'm happy about this.
Yeah, I think everyone's happy about it. I mean, he was the leading vote getter. Everyone wanted this to happen. Okay, let's move on to the designated hitter, which is a man who had the best month in the history of baseball, Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously on this team. 394, 15 homers, 29 RBIs, a 1444 OPS, which is the highest in a month since Lou Gehrig.
Whew.
I mean, Lou Gehrig. You heard of him? Yeah, you have.
Yep.
Unbelievable. I talked about him a ton at the time. It's the greatest month in the history of baseball when you add in his pitching. But offensively, it rivals one of the greatest months we have ever seen in the history of baseball offensively. He is my DH.
Moving to starting pitcher, someone that we got to sit down with when we were in San Diego, Blake Snell.
Just dominated. Back to Blake Snell was a Cy Young Award winner.
Mm-hmm.
And it appears he's gotten back to that. 3-1. He gave up 3 earned runs in the month of June. 3 earned runs in the entire month. 53 strikeouts, 31 innings pitched, and an opponent batting average of just 124. We talked to him. We talked to him on the field in San Diego. We had an episode of the exclusive interview with Blake Snell come out and really dove into the reasoning why everything has turned around. And that reasoning, golf.
Yeah. Not thinking about it. Not overthinking it.
Yeah.
Just having fun.
Just back to not overthinking it and playing a lot of golf and MLB The Show is the reason that Blake Snell is my starting pitcher on Team of the Month.
All right, and wrapping things up with the closing pitcher, Felix Bautista.
7 saves on the month, 22 strikeouts, and just 10 2/3 innings pitched. Add on top of that, 0 walks.
Yep.
And only 6 hits in the entire month. So there were some players with more saves. Jordan Romano on the month had 12 saves, but he just wasn't as dominant as Felix Bautista, who is striking out guys at a clip of, 18 per 9, which is just nuts. He's also, I watched him pitch on Sunday as well. I know it doesn't count for the month, but guys out there touching 103. He's an all-star. And shout out him and Yennier Cano for being named all-stars. 2 relievers on the same team being named an all-star for the Orioles. They've been fantastic, but Yennier Cano never got that closing spot, and it's because of how dominant Felix Bautista was and has been all year long. But he is my closer on Team of the Month because I think he was just by far the most dominant.
Yeah. All right, so that wraps up the Team of the Month. So that means it's time for Player of the Month, and this is a no-brainer. No-brainer. Who you got?
Yeah, my Player of the Month is Shohei Ohtani because he had the greatest month in the history of baseball. Thank you for your time.
Yeah,
Alex,
my player of the month is also Shohei Ohtani because he had the best June and month in Major League Baseball history.
All right, there you have it.
Mic drop.
Yep. All right, so that is Team of the Month and Player of the Month. Shohei Ohtani being both of our Player of the Month. And, yeah.
Our Player of the Month.
Yeah.
Let's get to power rankings.
Let's get to power rankings. New and improved and updated. I just want to start adding as many, like, adjectives or what before. New, improved,
State of the art.
updated, exciting, state of the art, drama-filled. Power rankings.
In the new studio. They're going to
In the new studio. Let's start at number 10 in this week's power rankings. We have the Dodgers sticking where they were last week. They creeped back into the rankings. They're sticking at number 10 because they had a really good week until they lost the series to the Royals.
Yeah, that was brutal. Weird.
They just stayed put. They're so frustrating. I don't understand. They're 46-37. At times they look like the best team in baseball, and at times they lose series to the Royals.
Yeah, brutal.
Series.
Okay, number 9, down 2 spots, the Giants.
Yeah, Giants lose the series to the New York Mets. They're 46-38. Just had to bump them down a little bit. The Giants have been really good this year, but a little fallback this week.
Number 8, also a little fallback 2 spots, the Marlins.
Yeah, I just had to bump the Marlins because of that series with the Braves. They were dominated, and I know the Braves are the best team in the game of baseball, at least right now. I don't want to spoil the power rankings at all because we know who's been number 1 all year long, basically. But it was frustrating watching that. Like, you know, when you're somebody that's been like, telling people believe in this team.
They're the real deal.
They're the real deal. They have good pitching. They have a guy hitting 400. They have a guy with a lot of power. They play good defense. And for them to just go and lay an egg against the Atlanta Braves and look as bad as they did in that series, I had to knock them down. The Braves are going to do that to a lot of teams, but just I just would have liked to see a more competitive series, like what I saw with the Reds last week when I actually bumped the Reds up because they lost the series to the Braves. But every game of the series was a 1-run game. They looked great. It came down to 90 feet. The tying run ended up on third base. I came away super impressed with the Reds. This one, not so much with the Marlins. So I knocked them down 2 to number 8.
Okay. Number 7. They were not ranked last week. The Houston Astros.
Yeah, the Astros are 46-38. They have played well so far against the Rangers. Now, that series carries over into Monday. 4-game series. They've won 3 of 4 they've won 2 of 3 as we currently speak against the division-leading Rangers. So they're cutting into that lead. They're getting healthy at the right time. They're close to getting Jordan and Brantley back. I would imagine with a week left, Jordan's injury wasn't bad, but Brantley, I would imagine we don't see Brantley until at minimum. I don't think they rush him back before the All-Star break. Yeah. But I think there's a chance we see him after. I think we see Jordan soon. This team just keeps getting healthier and healthier. Now they're playing the Rangers in a series who have been one of the best teams in baseball all year long. They're taking care of business there, on the road. The Astros are back to playing better baseball, and they're back in the power rankings. They weren't ranked and haven't been ranked for a couple of weeks, but I feel like now is the time.
Okay. Number 6, you mentioned them earlier, up 3 spots, the Reds.
Yeah, I love this team. I don't know what it was I tweeted over the weekend. I think I had like a beer or two in me, and I think I just tweeted, I love the Reds.
Nice.
I don't even know what it was about, but I do. I love the Reds.
Yeah. Well, since Ellie De La Cruz joined them, they've become one of the more exciting teams in baseball.
You know, absolutely. But even before Ellie joined, they were becoming one of the most exciting teams in baseball with Matt McClain, Spencer Steer, Tyler Stevenson's been playing great this year. And then you bring up Ellie, and it felt like that was the final puzzle piece for a team that was ready to take off. And I don't mean that in a sense of like they're a complete puzzle, because they're not. I mean, nobody believes that they're like they have pitching issues. They have bullpen issues besides Alexis Diaz. They have rotation depth issues. But it just felt like it was the right time to call up Ellie. Literally the day before, I was yelling on about call up Ellie. And then it just felt like you had all this momentum with an exciting team being met by one of the most exciting players the game has seen. And you mesh that together and you get a 12-game winning streak. You get a team that's well over 500 now at 45-39. and I know there's some better record teams behind them, but who wants to play the Reds right now?
No one.
The Reds are rolling. They're playing great. They're at number 6 on my power rankings.
All right, moving into your top 5, your other favorite team, the Diamondbacks, down 1 spot.
How many favorite teams do you think is acceptable to have?
You're the one that gave me a hard time for having 3 favorite teams.
Yeah, but you know.
And you have Tigers, Astros, Mets, Diamondbacks, now Reds. 5?
Did you say the Tigers?
Yeah, they were the first ones I said.
Diamondbacks,
Tigers,
Reds,
Astros.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I don't know. More to come.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. We'll see if we can get to 15. We'll see if we can get to half the league by the end of the year. Diamondbacks 50 and 35. They're one of only a few teams in the game with 50 wins. The season they have been having so far is just, it's surprising. Yes, surprising that it's this good. My hot take of the year for 2023 was that the Diamondbacks find a way to get into the playoffs. But right now they're leading the NL West. They've been great all year long. They have a lot of all-stars. You're looking at Corbin Carroll, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Zach Gallen. This is just a fun, complete team. Just add. This is a team. The Diamondbacks are a team that I would love to see go for it. The Reds are one that I think the Reds are quite a few pieces away.
Are you saying at the trade deadline?
At the trade deadline.
Okay.
Not go for it as in, like, you should really try and win.
Yeah.
All of it, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But, like, really go for it because I do think they're close. I think they're a rotation arm away and, like, a bullpen arm or two. And I saw a rumor, and I'm just going to spread it. I'm just going to spread it. I don't even know who it was from or what it was from, but I really liked the idea. Dylan Cease traded to the Diamondbacks. I don't know if the White Sox are going to do it, but man, that would be exciting.
That would be extremely exciting.
And the White Sox are big old struggle bus these days. So the fighting Diamondbacks, 50 and 35, they're at number 5.
Well, at number 4, they just filled a huge void and made a big trade. Up 1 spot, the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, the Rangers, I mentioned it earlier. Number 1 rotation ERA in all of baseball entering this week. The best offense in baseball entering this week. And the 7th worst bullpen. They went out and added Aroldis Chapman, who, if you haven't been following him closely this year with the Kansas City Royals, which you probably haven't been because I digress.
Yep.
Royals, not great.
Not a great team.
Chapman's having a bounce-back resurgence type year. He's been throwing well over 100 again. He's had wipeout stuff again. So I don't really know what happened there with the end of his Yankees tenure. It was really, really weird. He wasn't throwing hard. He wasn't throwing strikes, and then he left the team during the playoffs.
Yeah, that was just
It was just a mess. But going to Kansas City got him back to go. Maybe he just needed to get out of that spotlight of New York. And this is a good piece for this Rangers team. I really like that addition. And this is one of the best teams in baseball all year long. They're 50 and 34 and here at number 4.
At number 3, holding strong at number 3, the Orioles.
Yeah, holding strong. They've been here for a few weeks in a row now. They are 49 and 33. They're just really fun. And all of these teams right in this general area, Orioles, Rangers, D-backs, it's kind of like those teams kind of all feel similar to me in terms of how they're playing and how they've been playing this year and how they continue to play. But they've been having a really good year. The crowd there is doing big things now. Like, the vibe there in Baltimore has turned around, and the Orioles have been one of the best teams in baseball all year long. And as of right now, they are in 2nd place in the AL East and are 3rd in my power rankings.
Now, the top 2, this is probably going to be the biggest shocker of the week. For the first time, the Rays have dropped 1 spot and are at number 2 on the power ranking.
This one's going to be quick. Let's talk about the Rays here at number 2 being 57 and 30 and down to number 2 for the first time in this year's power rankings in like 2-3 months. And it's not because of really anything. They've just kind of treaded water and been fine. Let's move on to number 1. For the first time in a very, very long time, we have a new team atop the power rankings. This week's number 1 is the Atlanta Braves at 56 and 27. They are the only team to win every single series in the month of June. They expanded their lead in the division from 3.5 to 9 games. They expanded their lead over the Mets from 3.5 to 18.5 games in the span of 1 month. They're currently on a pace. They've hit a homer in 20 straight games. They're just on an absolute tear. And I do regret, I really fought with myself and battled myself last week. I was so close to making the Braves #1 last week. And I think I was kicking myself by Tuesday. I wish I had done it then, but it's time now. The Atlanta Braves are the best team in the game of baseball, and they absolutely are more than deserving of the #1 spot in this week's top 10 Major League Baseball power rankings.
That's great, too, because you predicted at the beginning of the season that it's going to be the Braves in the World Series.
I did.
So you need them. You need them to be here right now and now continue this in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel better about that now than I did when I said it.
I
And
know.
I felt really good about them then. So, yeah, you're right. Thank you for bringing that up.
You're welcome. That wraps up our Monday
Seems to
show.
be a good call so far. That does. It wraps up Monday, 4th of July tomorrow. We got an exciting 4th of July episode coming out tomorrow. You have any 4th of July plans you got going on tomorrow after our episode?
No, just mellow. Hanging with the pups.
You don't.
Cooking
Alex Curry does not do mellow. I don't believe.
I have an early. I'm on the herd on Wednesday, so I have an early wake up the day after. So yes, hanging with the pups, making dinner at home, just chilling.
But nobody would blame you if you go on the herd just extremely hungover.
I would never. It's not gonna happen.
What a Monday episode. I mean, all the All-Star stuff that's come out. We've started to get trades. We're a month out from the trade deadline, and we're already getting a big domino falling. So maybe that will be the start of what's to come. But just a lot to talk about today. Thank you all for listening. Enjoy your 4th of July, which is tomorrow, and enjoy it by listening to Flippin' Bats.
Come hang out.
Thank you all for listening. Make sure you subscribe, like, follow, rate, subscribe, whatever you want to do on any podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, wherever. We're also on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can watch everything on YouTube at Flippin' Bats Pod for all of them. But for this Monday episode of Flippin' Bats, thank you all for listening. And until tomorrow, my friends, peace.